Hollywood is very seductive, and people want to be famous, and sometimes you think you're going to be safe and with an adult in the room, or I don't know where this security comes from, but somehow I dodged it all.
And they have to make you dirty. Like, you cannot be in Hollywood, become famous if they don't have some kind of dirt on you. And you go on those parties, and that's where usually you have to do something dirty, and it could be the party of overeating stuff.
Pamela Anderson's revelation about nearly losing her life at a Diddy party is sending shockwaves through Hollywood. Known for surviving the wild 80s and 90s, Pamela has seen and done it all. But for her to say she was left shaken and fearing for her life after attending one of Diddy's infamous parties means something truly sinister happened. According to sources close to the situation, Pamela was not just a bystander. She allegedly witnessed dark, disturbing rituals at the event that left her scarred. But here's the kicker: Pamela herself nearly became a part of these rituals. Sources claim that she came dangerously close to being caught up in whatever twisted acts were taking place behind closed doors. And of course, she has receipts to back up her terrifying story. So, the question on everyone's mind: did Diddy actually attempt to sacrifice Pamela at one of his so-called freak-offs? The details are still coming to light, but if Pamela's account is anything close to the truth, it's far darker than anyone could have imagined. Let's break it down and see what might be lurking beneath the surface of Diddy's infamous parties.
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended performances with male commercial workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics.
Diddy's troubles seem to be escalating by the day, and things are spiraling out of control with no signs of slowing down. The accusations against him have reached new lows, with some of the most heinous charges ever seen in Hollywood, and it's becoming increasingly clear that his future may be behind bars. With the mounting civil lawsuits and more victims coming forward, Diddy might soon find himself in a financial hole so deep that settling these cases could drain him completely. Now, just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse for the music mogul, Pamela Anderson has entered the conversation, and she's revealing shocking details about what she witnessed at Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Pamela, a woman who has lived through more than most could ever imagine, is no stranger to the darker side of Hollywood. At 57, she's seen the worst of the industry, and when she speaks out, you better believe it's serious. Pamela's early life in Ladysmith, British Columbia, was far from easy. Growing up in a toxic household with constant fighting between her parents, Carol and Barry Anderson, she was often caught in the middle of their physical altercations. With this kind of upbringing, Pamela became accustomed to chaos and dysfunction, which unfortunately seemed to follow her into her adult life and career. So when she says that Diddy's parties were disturbing, you know it's not just another Hollywood gossip story. Pamela has now opened up about the disturbing things she saw behind the scenes at Diddy's parties, things so vile that she could barely comprehend them at the time. But with the floodgates open on Diddy's behavior, she's finally speaking out, revealing what she knows about the dark rituals and manipulative tactics Diddy allegedly used.
Well, I grew up in a very in an alcoholic home, and there was violence in my household, and I think it's just my model of a relationship. And when I got into any kind of relationships, it just seems to, you recreate the pattern, even though you say you're never ever going to do that. You're never going to have the same relationship. My poor mom she's still with my father. My father is a great grandfather. He's a wonderful grandfather, but he's a terrible husband. And my mom still suffers because it's verbal abuse, used to be physical abuse, and she just.
That was just one of the traumatic things in Pamela's childhood. She has opened up about how she was taken advantage of by a female babysitter between the ages of 6 and 10. At the time, she didn't really understand what was being done to her. However, growing up like that probably set a terrible precedent for Pamela, because when she started dating, she somehow always ended up with boys and men who violated her and treated her horribly. It all started when she went to a friend's boyfriend's house and ended up getting say-ed by the boyfriend's older brother. She was 12 at the time, and the brother was in his 20s, and the experience left her with deep scars and trust issues. When she did finally start dating, it didn't get better. Either her boyfriends would put their hands on her, say her, and be abusive towards her. She once talked about one incident where a boyfriend started putting his hands on her while they were arguing in his car, to the point where he, out of a moving car, another boyfriend and his friend's gang R'd her in the back seat of his car.
I did not have an easy childhood. Despite loving parents, I was from age 6 to 10 by my female babysitter. I went to a boyfriend's house, and while she was busy, the boyfriend's older brother decided he would teach me backgammon, which led into a back massage, which led into my first heterosexual experience. He was 25 years old, and I was 12. My first boyfriend in grade 9 decided it would be funny to gang rape 6 of his friends. Needless to say, I had a hard time trusting humans, and I just wanted off this earth. My parents tried to keep me safe, but to me, the world was not a safe place. My dad, an alcoholic. My mom worked 2 jobs waitressing. My mom was always crying. Dad didn't always come home, leaving us in tremendous pain and worry. I couldn't bear to give her any more disruptive information, so I couldn't break her heart any more than it was breaking. I kept these events to myself. Sometimes when you smile, it's not because you're happy, it's because you're strong. That's her words.
By the time Pamela Anderson was scouted for Playboy and flown to Los Angeles to begin her modeling career, she was determined to start fresh and reclaim her life after all the trauma she'd endured. However, she unknowingly walked straight into the dark side of Hollywood's entertainment machine. As a stunning blonde beauty in the late 80s, Pamela quickly became the center of attention, both in and out of the industry. Her big break came when she appeared as the cover model for Playboy's October 1989 issue, which propelled her into the spotlight. With her newfound fame, Pamela began receiving invitations to the infamous Playboy Mansion, where notorious parties were held. While she initially declined the invitations, wanting to distance herself from the chaotic and often exploitative lifestyle that surrounded those parties, it wasn't long before she became more involved. Little did she know, these parties were places where illegal and disturbing activities were happening behind closed doors, an environment that, despite her initial reluctance, she would soon find herself entangled in.
When a Porsche to be someone's number 1 girl, and I just naively said, well, there must be number 2 then, so I'm not interested. Or just money, homes, roles in movies, and I just didn't want to do it that way. I had no desire, and I'm a romantic, and
the pressure in Hollywood mounted. Pamela eventually gave in, stepping further into the lifestyle she had initially resisted. Soon after, her modeling career took off, and she landed the iconic role of C.J. Parker on Baywatch, which she portrayed for 5 seasons between 1992 and 1997. She also secured other roles in films and plays, along with modeling gigs that solidified her fame. However, despite her career flourishing, Pamela faced a constant struggle to be taken seriously in the industry. She was often reduced to a symbol of beauty, labeled as a bimbo by many. Women either envied her or despised her, while men objectified her, wanting to claim ownership of her image and presence. It was a harsh reality for Pamela, as she was more than just her looks, but the industry at the time was often unwilling to see beyond her physical appearance.
I've heard you describe yourself as a kitten, and you enjoy that role, and you've been on the cover of Playboy 14 times. Is it hard for you to be a serious messenger? Do people diminish you because you've owned your sexuality and sensuality in that way?
well, I think it's gotten me in the door a lot. And I think there's been more good than bad, but obviously there's, downsides to it as well. But I kind of like not having much to live up to because then I can surprise people. I form a full sentence. I'm a genius. It's amazing. So, and I've kind of used it to my advantage. And, we use all we are. And I love feeling sexy and being a woman. You're able to be sexy. You're able to be a good mother. It doesn't mean you're a bad mother if you're covered in glitter and just got back from Vegas, a Vegas show. It's all part of us.
Pamela Anderson's career faced a series of traumatic events, with one of the most infamous being the release of her and Tommy Lee's honeymoon tapes in 1995. These tapes, stolen by a disgruntled employee, were leaked online after attempts at blackmail failed. Pamela and Tommy sued the media company that released the tape, but later dropped the lawsuit, fearing it would affect Pamela's pregnancy. Despite their efforts, the tape became one of the earliest celebrity scandals to circulate widely on the internet, making waves and generating traffic as it was repeatedly shared. The scandal didn't end there. Pamela's privacy was violated again in 1998 when a second tape with musician Bret Michaels was leaked, further harming her public image. The constant media attention, along with the objectification she faced, left lasting scars on Pamela's career. The Hulu series Pam Tommy in 2022 reignited the controversy, with Pamela publicly condemning it for profiting off her trauma without her consent. These leaks and scandals weren't just random occurrences. Sources suggest they were part of a larger pattern of humiliation rituals designed to break down celebrities like Pamela, forcing them into submission to Hollywood's darker demands. The constant harassment, coupled with threats to her life, allegedly led Pamela to retreat to her hometown to escape the pressure. Despite her struggles, Pamela is one of the fortunate ones. Many other women in the industry face similar abuse and never make it out. Pamela's experience draws a stark contrast to the tragic fate of other stars like Whitney Houston, whose untimely death has sparked rumors of foul play, with some speculating that her label boss, Clive Davis, may have been involved. Houston, a generational talent, was overwhelmed by the pressures of fame, which led her to self-medicate with substances, ultimately compromising her career and health. The stories of both women highlight the dangers and exploitation that often lurk behind the glamour of Hollywood. That's not just thin. No, it isn't. Diane, tell me, do you know it's scary? Then I can believe what you feel. I can't believe that, but do you really know? Did you really know? No, you know. Thank you, anorexia. No way they've written it. No way. In the last few years of her life, though, Whitney had started getting cleaned up and getting her career back on track. On the day she passed away, she was scheduled to perform at Clive Davis's Preg Grammy party. But get this, when the details surrounding Whitney Houston's death remain clouded in mystery, with many questioning the behavior of those closest to her, particularly music mogul Clive Davis. When Whitney's body was found in her room at the Beverly Hilton, Davis reportedly remained unfazed, insisting that the Grammys the following night must go on, suggesting it was what Whitney would have wanted. However, Whitney's close friend, Shaka Khan, expressed disbelief over the decision to continue the party, stating that Whitney would never have condoned such behavior, especially while her body lay in the hotel. Khan felt it was complete insanity and noted that Whitney, a woman of great influence, would never have wanted her passing to be ignored for the sake of a celebration.